guys, it's Heather. I'm adding on to my PTSD awareness video. It's kind of like my point's kind of like when you see a domestic violence victim and they, at some point in their healing journey, feel the need to say thank you to their abuser for making them stronger. Well, guess what? They don't deserve a thank you. And don't you dare. Because you made you stronger, number one. And they shouldn't have put you in that situation to begin with. The progress you made is all you. Any progress you made healing is because you had the fortitude and the strength and you developed that. Because you had to. They've got nothing to do with it. Not a thing. And you need to be proud of yourself for that. And I am telling you that from firsthand experience. They don't deserve a thing. Now, PTSD, there's some good things that I gained from that. And it's kind of like saying that I gained something good from, you know, an abuser. Because PTSD, like I said in my last video, sucks. It sucks. It's a lot to deal with. It's a lot for the people who love you to deal with. It's a lot for your coworkers, everybody. But what it does do, when you're forced to relive memories, you know, sensory, visual, physical memories, any of that, when you're forced to relive that over and over and over again, and you have to reevaluate that experience and your reaction and what it does, and you're looking at it from an objective point of view, because when you're in your moments, you know, there's the subjective, which is what you feel and see and sense. And there's objective, which is what other people can see happening to you. You're kind of experiencing it from both the subjective and objective place. So not only are you reevaluating and re-experiencing your experience, it's almost like you, in a way, dissociate and evaluate how you're going through it. I mean, the whole point of relativity becomes so much more real. Like, you are completely aware that your biological response to a stressor, like even talking about stressful things makes my throat tight, and I could be sitting on a beach drinking a daiquiri somewhere and be completely happy, and if I start talking about stressors, my throat literally and physically begins to hurt like somebody's choking me. And I know that that is not right, and that I'm perfectly safe, and I can see that that is not right and that I'm perfectly safe. But my body's reaction to it becomes a completely different story, and I have no way of controlling that or talking my body out of it. You know that, you know, it's all relative. You know, it's great that this person has chemo treatments going on and they're leading a more active lifestyle than you, when you can't function enough to go out and go for a walk because, you know, the dishwasher not starting right just became completely too overwhelming because anxiety. Like, everything becomes, the theory of relativity and experience and reactions and all that becomes very relatable. And our experience, you see, is our perspective and our experience is all relative. Everything's on a spectrum. And that becomes a very real thing. You become very much more empathetic because you understand and you get it. If somebody's having a bad day because, you know, they drop their keys in the floor or something, like, I know some of us, when we were carrying our babies, we might have had like some really super emotional experiences, and you know, if somebody's going through that, you know, other moms can totally relate. Well, you can do that for almost everybody now. And with PTSD, especially with complex PTSD, like my videos are geared more towards the ExJW community. That's more of a complex PTSD when you have a chronic ostracism, which is a more clinical term for their shunning policy. You become much more in tune. You become very hyper aware of your surroundings. You're hyper aware of body language. You could identify somebody by the way they breathe. You can know that somebody's upset without even being in the room. Like, you can identify somebody not even being in the room. You can just identify them by the way that they're breathing, or identify that they're upset or stressed out, or, you know, whatever. Like, the girl that I work with, lady I should say, the lady I work with that's kind of scared of PTSD because of the stereotype, which is another thing we're going to get to. She's trying to find a natural way to manage some pretty severe anxiety, and I've been through that, and I know she's not really going to listen to me. See, empathy, once again, you go through a lot when you're dealing with this, so you kind of have experience, and you respect people's space a little bit easier, and what they go through stresses you out more too, so it's kind of a catch-22, which kind of sucks. But shoot, I lost my train of thought. Let's see if I can get back there. You become, well, there we go. This girl does a lot of, she'll inhale, and then she stops for a couple seconds. And then you can hear a very definitive exhale. And she has no idea that she does this. She doesn't even know she does it. You can hear when people type different. Their facial expressions. Like, I move my face a lot when I talk, if you haven't noticed. But you notice other people's facial expressions, and the slight tonal changes in their voice, just a little bit of a shift of position, everything. Like, you read people really well, and it's a skill that you earned the hard way. And it's not uncommon with CPTSD. And the last really big point about something that you gain is stereotypes are a total bust, and you freaking know it. They are a bust. Like I said in another video, in the last video, describing how tough PTSD can be. there's a popular Hollywood display of, or a popular Hollywood picture of PTSD being this condition where something goes boom and you go ballistic and start like going apeshit on like your entire surroundings, and you need to be in a padded room. And obviously that's not it. Obviously, you know, people experiencing PTSD or have been in a cult are not weak. You already know that there's one of two super common ways that somebody experiences, in my case, for instance, the cult or domestic abuse. And that is, you're either born into that situation, or you're not a weak person, but you experienced a moment of weakness where somebody got a hook in there. They got a hook in there. They drew you in slowly. They conditioned you to feeling like everything was okay. They have your back when things start shifting negative. It doesn't happen all at once. It happens slowly. They're introducing these things slowly. And they're conditioning you to accept things each step of the way that you might not normally put up with. Before I ever got hit, for instance, you know, it started with, you know, having an imposing presence. The shunning and how they accept people to accept shunning was, you know, it started out with, you know, from the very beginning, they have an opportunity to repent and they did something terrible and they didn't repent. Now, how many stories have you heard where people were absolutely and totally broken by being disfellowshipped? You know, that doesn't happen if you weren't sad about doing it in the first place. You don't go in there all like hot crap, like, yeah, I did it, I'm not sorry. And then get disfellowshipped and be like, oh my God, I didn't know you were going to do that, and start bawling your eyes out and completely break yourself as a human being, like your mind is done. That doesn't happen. You were sorry. Like, you know from firsthand experience and from dealing with PTSD, the situation that you were in, the abuse that you put up with. There's so many areas where you start having firsthand experiences where you're encountering a stereotype, and guess what? The stereotype doesn't fit. The stereotype doesn't fit you. The stereotype doesn't fit your situation. Like, we were taught the whole time growing up that, you know, worldly people were terrible. They were out to get you. They're wicked. They're worshiping the devil or something like that. They were, as members of Christendom, that they were just bad. And there's a lot of, especially for ExJWs, there's a lot of deeply entrenched beliefs that you found to be wrong. And then you start experiencing life, and it's like seeing a Democrat with the collection of firearms or something. It just, if you feel like, you know, there's a definition for a demographic, it doesn't fit. So, and you know that. And that's an advantage that you have over so many other people. And it's kind of awesome. But, anyhow, I gotta run inside the store real quick, call my husband and let him know that I'm here. So, y'all have a good one. I gotta run.